Very good morning to everyone. So last class we have completed related to the nitrogen. Now we will see next phosphorus and phosphorus and its compounds, phosphorus oxides, chlorides, oxyacids. We will discuss in this class. Phosphorus. First of all, phosphorus mainly exists in three allotropic forms. The main important allotropes of phosphorus. That is white phosphorus, red phosphorus, and black phosphorus. And these three are the important allotropic forms of phosphorus. So now we will see one by one the properties of white phosphorus, red phosphorus, and black phosphorus. First we will take up white phosphorus. So white phosphorus is a translucent waxy type solid and with a garlic smell. The properties: translucent white waxy solid and with a garlic smell. And if you see the structure of white phosphorus, it looks like this. It has a discrete P4 molecules with a bond angle of 60 degrees. And this is the structure of P4. And here the bond angle is 60 degrees. So with sp3 hybridization and bond angle 60. sp3 hybridization, actually the bond angle should be 109 degrees. But in case of phosphorus, white phosphorus P4, and the bond angle is 60 degrees. So high bond angle strain we can observe in case of white phosphorus. It is a high, due to this high angle strain, it is highly reactive in nature compared to the remaining allotropes of phosphorus, red and black. And you can write those properties here. And this is insoluble in water, but is soluble in carbon disulfide. Insoluble in water, but soluble in some polar solvents like carbon disulfide, benzene, some example. Carbon disulfide or benzene or chloroform, we can take it. Only soluble in non-polar solvents. So due to the high angle strain, this is less stable in nature and more reactive in nature. Among all isotopes, it is less stable and more reactive in nature. So due to its high reactivity, white phosphorus generally we can store under water. It can be stored under water because anyhow insoluble in water. So high reactivity, for that reason we stored in water. And also this white phosphorus, due to the high reactivity, it glows in the dark time. And that property we can call phosphorescence or due to the chemiluminescence property. It glows in dark and due to the chemiluminescence. So glowing due to some chemical reaction, so it can glow. And this property we can call phosphorescence. So here white phosphorus can show the property of phosphorescence, and whereas the remaining cannot show. So due to its high reactivity, it can react with oxygen and it can form dense fumes. When react with oxygen, it can form the dense fumes of phosphorus pentoxide. It will form like this. And also white phosphorus can dissolve in sodium hydroxide aqueous solution, and it can undergo disproportionation reaction. White phosphorus can dissolve in sodium hydroxide aqueous solution. It can undergo disproportionation reaction. It can produce phosphine and sodium hypophosphite. And this is sodium hypophosphite. And this is phosphine. Here phosphorus 0 oxidation state, it will change to phosphorus -3, here phosphorus +1. Oxidation state decreases, reduction process, oxidation state increases, oxidation process. It can undergo both simultaneously, oxidation and reduction, and this reaction is called disproportionation reaction. It is an example for disproportionation reaction. So these are the few important points about white phosphorus. So very important. So highly reactive in nature compared to all other allotropes. That highly reactivity is due to the structure. The bond angle is 60. So high angle strain, that is the responsible for this high reactive in nature. That is why it can glow even in the dark condition. There is a phosphorescence property. And very, very important, white phosphorus can react with this dissolve in sodium hydroxide, and it can undergo disproportionation reaction. Next, second one, red phosphorus. Red phosphorus, it having the polymeric type structure. It has P4 polymeric units. I can see the structure of red phosphorus like this. Here P4 molecules in the polymeric chain type. Like this. This is the structure of red phosphorus. Now compared to the previous red phosphorus, the bond angle strain little decreases. So there is little less reactive in nature compared to the white phosphorus. And you can see some properties of red phosphorus here. And this red phosphorus we can prepare just if we heat white phosphorus at almost 300 degrees Celsius or 573 Kelvin for several days, and that can give the red phosphorus just by heating of white phosphorus at 573 Kelvin for longer hours, longer days, that can be converted into the red phosphorus form. Again, it is the orderless, whereas the white phosphorus Gorlick, but this is orderless, non-poisonous in nature, and it is insoluble both in water and carbon disulfide, whereas the white phosphorus is soluble in carbon disulfide, but it is insoluble in both water and carbon disulfide also. It is less reactive than white phosphorus, hence it does not glows in dark. Means what? There is no phosphorescence property, no phosphorescence. Only white phosphorus can show the phosphorescence. And mainly this red phosphorus we can use for the preparation of match boxes. It is used in making matchbox. So these are some properties of red phosphorus. Little less reactive compared to the white phosphorus. So insoluble in both water and carbon disulfide, and doesn't show the phosphorescence property. Mainly this can be used in the preparation of matchboxes. And the structure of red phosphorus is a polymeric unit, a P4 units, kind of polymeric chain. Next, third one, black phosphorus. So black phosphorus, it looks like a graphite like structure. It has hexagonal layer structures, and same like graphite, it is electrical conductor, black phosphorus, thermodynamically more stable compared to the both red and white phosphorus. It has graphite like structure and thermodynamically more stable. So among all phosphorus, allotropes of phosphorus, the stability order we can see, first black phosphorus will come, then red phosphorus, and the least white phosphorus. And this is the stability order. Reactivity order quite reverse. White phosphorus is more reactive than red, than black phosphorus. And it is a good conductor of electricity. Black phosphorus is good conductor of electricity. Generally, black phosphorus exists in the two forms. One is alpha black and one is a beta black. Exist as alpha black and beta black. Two forms of the black phosphorus. Anyhow, this alpha black we can prepare by heating red phosphorus. You take the red phosphorus and heat it in a sealed tube at 803 kelvins in a sealed tube. Then you will get alpha black. Similarly, this beta black white phosphorus we can get it by heating white phosphorus. And if we heat it white phosphorus at a temperature of 473 kelvins, but under a high pressure, you will get beta black. So alpha black and beta black. Alpha black can be obtained by heating the red phosphorus at 800 Kelvin approximately, and beta black phosphorus can be obtained by heating white phosphorus at 473 Kelvins. So these two are the further the forms of the black phosphorus. So next, one of the important compound of phosphorus, phosphine. I will see about phosphine preparation and properties. First we'll go to the preparation of phosphine. And how can we prepare? Just hydrolysis of phosphides, calcium phosphide. Just if hydrolyze it, you'll get this phosphine. And also same calcium phosphide, instead of hydrolysis, if you treat with acids, dilute acids like HCl, also will get the phosphine. Either hydrolysis or a treatment with the acids, the calcium phosphides, we will get phosphine. This is one of the preparation method. And the second one, anyhow, just now we have discussed that white phosphorus when dissolved in sodium hydroxide, it can give the phosphine. You can take that same back here, a white phosphorus, and when dissolved in aqueous sodium hydroxide also can give the phosphine. Again, this is again very important reaction. So you should remember that the preparation of white phosphorus and also the disproportionation reaction. And sometimes questions can be asked, when white phosphorus dissolved in sodium hydroxide, you will get one pungent odor gas. Then what is the hybridization and what is the properties of about this phosphine properties, questions can become. Next, this one, the disproportionation of oxy acids of phosphorus, which are in intermediate oxidation states. Let me take example of phosphorus acid. This can undergo disproportionation. It can give phosphoric acid and releases phosphine gas. This is also one of the preparation method. So like this we can prepare phosphine. All these reactions are very important for preparation of phosphine. Next, properties, both physical and chemical properties. Properties of phosphine. And see this, when white phosphorus, when you dissolve in sodium hydroxide and water, you will get phosphine, right? So apart from this, sometimes some other side reactions also can take place, and there are the side reactions like this. Like this phosphorus, when you treat with sodium hydroxide, excess amount, so you will get diphosphine. And this is one of the byproduct. Apart from this phosphine, when you prepare the phosphine from calcium phosphide or phosphorus, we will get diphosphine, also one of the byproduct. But it is a very lesser quantity. And it releases as usual sodium hydrogen phosphide. This one. And due to the presence of these diphosphine, PH3 behaves as a highly reactive in nature. Normally, a pure phosphine is less reactive, means less inflammable in nature, but in presence of this diphosphine and this phosphorus, it is a highly inflammable in nature. So we can say the kind of impurities may be present in the phosphine. Then to get the pure phosphine, so we have to do this one. For pure phosphine, how to obtain the pure phosphine? So first we have to treat the compound which is having this PH3. Apart from this, anyhow some impurities will be there. So the impure phosphine, first you treat with HI. Then it can form phosphonium iodide, and this phosphonium iodide further if you treat with potassium hydroxide, aqueous solution, and then that can give PH3 and KiH2. So first this impure phosphine, if we treat with this HI, so only phosphine can react with HI, the remaining impurities will present as it is. Then we will get this phosphonium iodide. From this phosphonium iodide again we will get back phosphine back. This is a pure form of phosphine. So like this we can purify the phosphine which is having some traces of impures like traces of P2H4 or P4 can be removed now. So this point also you should remember, Impure form of pH 3 is highly inflammable in nature, whereas the pure form non-inflammable in nature. Now we can see the properties of phosphine. So phosphine is a colorless gas with rotten fish smelling. This point is very important. Smell of phosphine, rotten fish smelling. So that is why highly they are pungent in nature and highly poisonous. Compared to the ammonia, this is little more poisonous. Top to bottom hydrates poisonousness increases. So this is highly poisonous in nature. Colorless but pungent odor. That is a rotten fish smelling and with highly poisonous in nature. So it is partially soluble in water but more soluble in non-polar solvents like carbon disulfide and benzene. Slightly soluble in water but more soluble in carbon disulfide and benzene, non-polar solvents. So here the solution of pH 3 in water can undergo decomposition and it can give the red phosphorus. Solution of pH 3 in water decomposes in presence of light and it can give red phosphorus. And you can see the reaction here. Aqueous phosphorus in presence of light, it can give this. This is a red phosphorus and hydrogen. Another important chemical reaction, it is explodes when it is contact with some oxidizing agents. Anyhow, pH is a reducing agent, but when it contact with oxidizing agents like HNO3Cl2, it can undergo explodes. You can note it down this point also. It explodes in contact with traces of oxidizing agents. Oxidizing agents like HNO3, chlorine and bromine, etc. So, some other reactions where it can act as a reducing agent. pH 3 can act as a reducing agent. So, the reducing nature of phosphine. Reducing nature. So these are the examples which can explain the reducing nature of phosphine. When phosphine treat with silver nitrate, it can give silver phosphide, HNO3. Similarly, phosphine when you treat with copper sulfate, it can give copper phosphide. And this phosphine when react with mercury chloride, it can give mercuric phosphide. And these are the few reactions that indicates the reducing nature of phosphine. These are the few chemical and physical properties of phosphine and preparation. Preparation is very important for phosphine, and a few of the properties, especially the smell of the phosphine is a rotten fish smell and highly pungent in nature, highly poisonous in nature. Nothing. And if you see the structure of phosphine, here phosphine, the structure, it has one lone pair and 3 bond pairs. But if you see the structure, but there is no hybridization involved in case of phosphine according to the Dragos rule. If it is any hybridization involved, it looks like the pyramidal in geometry. But here, these 3 bonds almost looks perpendicular in nature. The bond angle between hydrogen, phosphorus, hydrogen, phosphorus, hydrogen, the bond angle is approximately 93 degrees. Means close to 90 degrees. No involvement of hybridization. Only the atomic orbitals can undergo normal overlapping. So that is a structure, no hybridization. So due to the presence of lone pair, so it can behave as a Lewis base but compared to the ammonia, the Lewis basic strength is little lesser. Less Lewis basic than the ammonia. Next, the applications of this phosphine. The very important application here, phosphine can be used in Ohm's signals. Can be used in Ohm's signals. What is the meaning of this Ohm signals? Here, this mainly they will useful for the, so in case of Ohm signals, they will take calcium phosphide and calcium carbide mixture. And these two mixture they will throw into the seawater. Then, when the seawater in contact with this calcium carbide and calcium phosphide, they releases phosphine and calcium carbide releases acetylene. With this phosphine and acetylene, phosphine in presence of some impurities highly reactive in nature, so it easily undergoes a combustion. And this mixture can undergo combustion and they can produce a huge flame and a huge amount of gases can be released and smoke. So that gases that are flame is an indication that where that location is there. Like that they can share their location by burning of this material by throwing into the seawater. Here, second application, smoke screens. So again here the same concept, calcium phosphide they will react with the water, anyhow when dissolved in water it releases phosphine. Phosphine anyhow highly reactive in nature in presence of traces of impurities. It can undergo combustion in presence of oxygen and it can produce dense fumes of P2O5 fumes. These are the dense fumes. And these dense fumes can act like a screen, a smoke screen, and it is called a smoke screen. So next we will see some important phosphorus compounds, phosphorus halides. Here we will discuss two important phosphorus halides. One is the phosphorus trichloride and pentachloride. The first one, phosphorus trichloride. There is PCl3. As usual, first preparation of PCl3, white phosphorus with the chlorine. Here limited supply of chlorine can give PCl3. Phosphorus with chlorine, direct combination. A direct reaction of phosphorus with the chlorine. This is first reaction. And the second preparation, again phosphorus, if you treat with thionyl chloride, SO2Cl2. This is called thionyl chloride. And this thionyl chloride can produce PCl3. And these two preparation methods for the phosphorus trichloride. Next, properties. So PCl3 is a colorless oily liquid. It is a colorless oily liquid. Other chemical reactions, so it can undergo hydrolysis. It can produce as acid. Phosphorus in +3 oxidation state can undergo hydrolysis and produce phosphorus acid. And mostly this PCl3 we will useful in organic chemistry to replace OH functional group. Mostly in case of in alcohol's case, carboxylic acid case, to replace the OH group we will use this PCl3. In organic reactions we can use. See, in organic reactions I will use mostly carboxylic acid to the acid chlorides and alcohols to the alkyl halides. Let me take one best example, acetic acid. If you treat with PCl3, you will get acetyl chloride. Just this OH part can be replaced by chlorine. Both PCl3 and PCl5, same type of uses. To replace this OH group, we can use PCl5 also. Similarly, alcohols, like ethyl alcohol, again if you treat with PCl3, again this OH can be replaced by the chlorine. You will get ethyl chloride. And OH can be replaced with that chlorine, and again it can give the byproduct H3PO3. Phosphorus acid. Next, PCl3 can act as a reducing agent also. So, as a reducing agent, you can see few chemical reactions as a reducing agent. PCl3, it reacts with some reducing agent, means we have to treat with some oxidizing agent, SO3. It can form POCl3 plus SO2. And PCl3, if we treat with sulfuric acid, H2SO4, it can give H3PO4, phosphoric acid, sulfur dioxide, HCl. And similarly, PCl3, you treat with S2Cl2, you will get PCl5 plus 2PsCl3. It's like POCl3, in place of oxygen we have the sulfur. PCl3 with SO2Cl2, this is sulfuryl chloride. You can give PCl5 plus SO2. So these are the few chemical reactions of PCl3. So very important, and can use in the organic reactions for the conversion of that OH functional group. OH, just you can replace that OH to the Cl. Preparation properties. The structure of PCl3 is very important. We can see here the structure. So PCl3 structure: phosphorus, chlorine, chlorine, chlorine. So here this structure, it undergoes sp3 hybridization with 3 bond pairs and 1 lone pair. So then the geometry of the molecule is pyramidal in geometry. This point we should remember. Structure of PCl3 with 1 lone pair and sp3 hybridization, pyramidal in geometry. Next, PCl5 here. And second, phosphorus halide, important phosphorus halide, phosphorus pentachloride. Phosphorus pentachloride, PCl5. Again preparation as usual. So in the first one, like PCl3, we have taken there the limited supply of chlorine. Here you take excess of chlorine, P4 plus 5Cl2. Then it can give PCl5. This we are taking same direct combination of phosphorus with the chlorine, but excess chlorine. And the second one, phosphorus with sulfuryl chloride. In previous case we have taken thionyl chloride, but here you take the sulfuryl chloride. SO2Cl2 is called sulfuryl chloride. And this can produce PCl5. And one more preparation, just a direct combination of PCl3 with the chlorine. You will get PCl5. So are the preparation methods of the PCl5, phosphorus pentachloride. Okay, next as usual the properties, physical and chemical properties of PCl5. It is the yellowish white powder. Previous case PCl3 is a oily liquid and this is yellowish white powder. As like previous PCl3 undergo hydrolysis, it can give H3PO3, and a PCl5 undergo hydrolysis and can give H3PO4. But this is a step 5 mechanism. First PCl5 can undergo hydrolysis, it can give an intermediate POCl3. That POCl3 finally can produce H3PO4. So first it can give, if we do the hydrolysis, we will get the intermediate is POCl3. That this POCl3 finally it can give H3PO4 is the final product. First one, if you take limited supply of water, and second excess of water. And PCl5 easily undergo decomposition when PCl5, if it is thermal decomposition, you will get PCl3 and Cl2. This is due to the structure of PCl5. PCl5, it is a trigonal bipyramidal structure, and out of 5 bonds, 3 bonds are different in nature and 2 bonds are other different. So 3 bonds are having less bond length and 2 bonds are having weak bond length. There's the bonds which are weaker in nature that can break. If you see the structure of PCl5, these two are the axial bonds. Axial bonds are having weaker in nature. So when you heat it, these bonds can break. It can give the Cl2 molecule plus PCl3. So we'll discuss the structure again here. This is also one of the confirmation. You can see the experimental proof that 2 chlorines are present in the axial position and 3 chlorines present at equatorial position. Experimental proof. Next, as like PCl3, PCl5 also can react with organic compounds. Reaction with organic compounds. Reaction with organic compounds. Again, to replace the OH group, we can use PCl5 also in place of PCl3. As usual, let us take example of acetic acid, and if we treat with PCl5, acetyl chloride plus POCl3 HCl. Similarly, ethyl alcohol, and also treat with PCl5. You get ethyl chloride, POCl3 and HCl. And these are the reactions. Just again the OH part can be replaced. It can react with the finely divided metal also, with finely divided metals. And like silver. Silver can react with PCl5, can give AgCl plus PCl3. Similarly with the tin, PCl5, SnCl4 and PCl3. Similarly, some other chemical reactions of PCl5. This indicates the reducing behavior, just like PCl3. PCl5 and react with SO2. It can give POCl3 and SOCl. PCl5 H2SO4, POCl3, SO2 thion. This is a thionyl chloride, here sulfuryl chloride. PCl5 can undergo reduction in presence of hydrogen, and it can give PCl3 plus HCl. These are some few other chemical reactions of PCl5. Next, the structure of PCl5. As usual, structure. Mostly PCl5 in gaseous and liquid state can exist in the trigonal bipyramidal structure. In gas and liquid phase. The structure of PCl5 is like this. Trigonal bipyramidal structure, in that 3 of the bond lengths, that is the equatorial bonds. These are which are on the plane are called equatorial bonds. Which are above and below the plane, they are axial bonds. All equatorial bonds, they are having the same properties like equal bond lengths and equal bond angles. And whereas the axial bonds, they are having again the same bond length, but comparatively axial bond lengths are having more than the equatorial bond lengths. They are little weaker in nature compared to the equatorial bond lengths. So hybridization, sp3 dehybridization, trigonal bipyramidal geometry. Trigonal bipyramidal. With the 2 different types of bond angles and bond lengths. That is in gas and liquid state. But in solid state, PCl5 can exist as, this one we have discussed already. In solid state, PCl5 exists as ionic form of PCl4 plus PCl6 minus. This is a kind of ionic solid, cation and anion, where the cationic form PCl4 with hybridization, sp3 hybridization and tetrahedral in geometry. This part PCl4. So it look like phosphorus, chlorine, 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 chlorine with the positive charge. And whereas PCl6 minus hybridization is sp3d2 hybridization, but octahedral in geometry, like this. Overall it is having negative charge. One is octahedral and one is a tetrahedral. These points you should remember. What is the cationic form of phosphorus? Hybridization. And what is the anionic form of phosphorus? Hybridization. And their corresponding geometries in solid state. Similarly, other halides, PBr5, phosphorus pentabromide, also in solid state can exist as PBr5 in solid state exist as PBr4 plus and Br minus. So phosphorus in the cationic form only, there is no phosphorus in the anionic form. So normal PBr5, again the geometry hybridization of phosphorus here, sp3d, as usual PCl5 trigonal bipyramidal in geometry. Whereas in case of solid state, the phosphorus, the cationic form sp3 hybridization tetrahedral in geometry. Anionic form, no. These points also you should remember. And one more important point about phosphorus fluoride, you should remember this point, PF3. PF3 is highly poisonous in nature and it can bind with hemoglobin as like carbon monoxide. It is a strong field ligand, so it is highly poisonous in nature, is poisonous as it forms complex with hemoglobin just like carbon monoxide. The 14th group we have discussed, carbon monoxide can bind with the hemoglobin and that can lead further death also sometime. Hemoglobin in blood like carbon monoxide. Because PF3 is a strong field ligand, so they can form complexes. Anyhow, about this complex chemistry, so we will discuss later in the coordination compounds. You should remember PF3 can form a strong bond with hemoglobin in place of oxygen. Instead of oxygen, PF3 can bind. So then that leads to the deficiency of oxygen. So further consequences can take place accordingly. So this is about all phosphorus halides, mainly PCl3 and PCl5. So again, the structures are very important, PCl3 structure and PCl5 structure, that you focus. Next, phosphorus oxides and oxyacids, that we will see in the next class.